All right, we'll go ahead and call the Becker City Council meeting of August 2nd, 2023 to order. If you're able, please rise and join us with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, has council had the opportunity to review the meeting minutes from July 18th, 25th, and 26th?
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Any changes to this evening's agenda? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve the set agenda.
I motion that we approve the agenda as set.
Second.
Motion from Becky, second from Robin. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Guests in open forum. Oh.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Josh Kuha, Joseph Avenue, Becker, Minnesota. I've always wanted to do that. And if Mike was here, he would ask that I do. Recreation and Leisure Assistant Director for the city. Just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce a new hire that we have at Pebble Creek Golf Club. He started on Monday, so he's getting to know a lot of people and hitting the ground running. So if I could introduce Charlie Dominic, the new food and beverage manager at Pebble Creek. And Charlie, if you'd come up and just say a few words. Thank you.
You don't have to state your address, just for the record.
Well, it's in Sauk Rapids, so I wouldn't say that. No, I'm excited to be a part of the group, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you individually, as well as hopefully making some good changes at Pebble Creek. It's already a great place, so I'm just getting my feet wet. So,
Well, thank you and welcome.
yeah, thank you.
Welcome.
It's league night, so I got to get going again, but
Yeah, it
What's-
is.
You'll see our faces a lot.
all right. I'm looking forward to it.
More from the other end than
Wow.
All right, committee reports. Fire relief.
Thank you, Mayor. We had a meeting recently, I think the 19th of July. A lot of the normal stuff. Russ presented the treasurer's report, had some committee reports in regards to some of the items they're working on with some of their events this summer. Talked about working on a cell phone. They were getting a cell phone for some of the donations. They were getting like a Venmo account. So they're looking at rolling out a calendar next year and taking more like electronic, it's 2023 now, so kind of getting up with the times and looking to increase some participation in some of the donations they get for their fund. Approved a couple bills. And then you may have recalled, I think the last quarterly meeting before this one, we had their investment broker come and kind of give a presentation on what they've done. This last time, Greg participated, and we spoke a little bit about the para statewide pension plan and some of the benefits of that and some of the details. So they're interested in that. Russell Cox has expressed that he may transition away from treasurer, so they're just looking at how they want to move forward. If there's a new treasurer that will step in, or if they'll look at the statewide plan in the future as well. So we had some good discussion about that.
All right. Budget and finance.
Budget and Finance met on July 20th. We went over the standard financials like we always do. BCC memberships are up 944 memberships with 2,425 total members, which is as high as it's been in several years. We did talk about past due utilities. There will be a shut off on the 16th of this month. 58 letters went out, so we'll see what kind of response we get to that. And then we had the second quarter financial update, which Mark will be presenting to us tonight. So that was about it.
Okay. Golf committee.
Golf Committee, we met on the 25th. We just went through financials, which everything's looking good over there. Our golf cart lease is up for renewal, so we were trying to just figure out how we're gonna go about that and who we are going to hire for that. There's a lot of tourneys coming up here in August, September is kind of the crazy time for tourneys, so that'll be a good time for them. And obviously you guys met Charlie, he was just here, he's our new food and bev manager, so that'll be exciting things up there. Maybe some fun changes, or we'll see what he brings. And that's it.
All right, joint planning, we had a denial of an IUP. That was in the township area. And how about planning commission? Both planning commission people are gone.
No update.
No update. All right, public hearing. Chapter 2, fee schedule amendment. Ms. Bleasy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight, we are requesting you to open a public hearing, if you would like.
Yep, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:06 PM.
All right, so this public hearing is to consider changes to the city's fee schedule for the addition of fees for state plumbing review for commercial, industrial, and public building permits. This amendment will allow the city to charge plumbing fees for commercial, industrial, and public building permits to pay Rum River consultants for completion of related plan reviews. The fees are being adopted by reference to the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry's public plan review fee schedule. There is no impact to the budget, as the plumbing fees charged will cover the costs of Rum River consultants for completing the reviews. So I can take any questions.
No questions from council. Anyone from the audience to discuss the application fee for the permit? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
We are closed at 5:07 PM.
And then I would ask for the two motions for the ordinances.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 272 second series revising section 2.19 of chapter 2 of the City of Becker Code.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 272 second series summary for publication.
And I'll second that.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Energy Park, 5th edition easement vacations. Ms. Regal.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Public notices for public hearing were posted, published, and mailed in compliance with statute. So hoping to open the public hearing tonight.
All right, we'll go ahead and open the public hearing at 5:08 PM.
Okay, and at the July 5th City Council meeting, City Council did approve the Energy Park 9th Edition plat. As a result of that approval, multiple drainage and utility easements from the previous plat additions are no longer necessary for public purposes. So we are looking to vacate those easements as they are barriers to economic development. I'll stand for any questions.
No questions from council. Is there anyone here in the audience for the 5th edition easement vacates? Seeing no one, Renee, I'm going to go ahead and ask council if they'd like to close the meeting.
I motion we close.
Second.
Motion from Becky, second from Robin. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
We are closed at 5:09 PM. And then,
Fabulous. And then I would be looking for a motion and second, adopting Resolution 2381, which is the resolution vacating the portions of multiple drainage and utility easements in the plat known as Energy Park 5th Edition. I'll motion adopting Resolution 23-81, a resolution vacating portions of multiple drainage and utility easements in the plat known as Energy Park 5th Edition.
Second.
motion from Becky, second from Robin. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator and staff reports. Second quarter financials for 2023. Mr. Ebensteiner.
Great, thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll just pull up my screen here. Thought I would share the charts just so that those online could follow along as I'm presenting. There we go. Thanks, Greg. All right, well, thank you, Mayor and Council. As mentioned, I'm here to present the Q2 financials. So the update in your packet, just really intended to give a snapshot. You know, we're halfway through the year, 50% through the year, so a nice milestone to start comparing where we're at with things. So as Robin had mentioned in her update, Budget and Finance, we had discussed the Q2 financials at the last meeting and had some good discussions. So starting off in the general fund, most significant property taxes through June were at 38%. So that's in line with expectations. We did receive an additional 15% in July, and then we do receive the remaining 50% in either November or December. Intergovernmental revenues, you know, on the chart here appear to be behind, but that's really just timing of some of those aid payments that flow through. So at 7%, we're in line with expectations. We'll get that police aid later in the year here. And then the other general fund revenues, either at or above the 50%, with both licensing revenue and some of those other revenues, specifically interest coming in very strong with some of that rate recovery there. General fund expenditures as an aggregate, as you can see, at 46.53%. You know, with 50% elapsed, you know, we're looking good there. And the area that's significantly over, as been discussed in the past, building inspection at 70%. That's where, you know, that decision to bring building inspection in-house has seen some of those increases there. But we have had some we're seeing the offset of that in the strength of our building permits, since we are collecting more of those and keeping more of those within the city, since we're running that piece of it. Moving on to the EDA fund, they're really just tied to property tax revenue. So with the first payment, you know, usually 50%. This is one the EDA is driven by. It's the collection of those revenues happen in July, since it's not within our normal levy collection. So we did receive our first half in July. So that was as expected. And then on the expenditure side, favorable at right around 35%, you know, 50% through the year. Community Center Fund, a portion of these revenues also tied to the property tax. So in line with those constraints that I had just discussed. And then user fees are looking really good, you know, at 62% of the budget, you know, really favorable. Talks about, you know, those memberships, as Robin had discussed. We're seeing some membership numbers and some total members that are, you know, in excess of what we saw even back in 2019 before the COVID downturn. So some really great things happening there with the memberships. And then expenditures this year, you know, as expected, 53%. But we do have Freedom Days happens within the first half of the year, so there are some heavier expenditures there that we won't see later in the year. So looking good there. And then the last portion on this chart, the golf course fund. So golf fund revenues, just a reminder, do not include any operating tax levy this year. So golf revenues at 63% of the budget through June on the operations side, and 50% of budget on the food and beverage side. And expenditures for golf, 50% of the budget through June. And then golf is returning both a positive income and cash flow from both operations and food and beverage for the first half of the year. So really strong numbers, and we do look at some of the forecasts on the budget and finance side monthly as well. Transitioning to our enterprise funds, the water fund, not much to mention here. Water use as expected, expenses 35% through June, so good to see there. We will have some additional capital that will happen later in the year. Domestic wastewater revenues are consistent. Definitely the sewer tends to be more consistent, because we do have the winter averages which are used and really don't peak with the irrigation and increased water usage. So very consistent. 51% of revenue through June on track. And then there we will see some additional capital spend later in the year. So that's expected and planned for. So you see expenditures lagging, through half the year now. And on the industrial wastewater side, revenues and expenditures are both tracking as expected through June. The fire fund, as a reminder, that's now classified as a custodial fund. It's still as a part of our chart of accounts and still within there. So tracking as expected, 51% of revenues through June, and expenditures at 33%. And that's with some of the minimal capital expenditures. Initially, had budgeted for some equipment purchases, a vehicle, but that's going to get pushed off just with availability of that equipment. Citywide as a whole, 48% of planned revenues, and then that really just lines up with the tax payments and favorable other revenues, and then total expenditures at 43% throughout the year. And then not included in the charts, but just a quick update for council. We have talked a lot about capital project financing. We've talked about the liquidity of our cash balances and ability to front load and make a lot of those payments before we're requesting reimbursement through deed and the county. And it's been a really good process. We have the liquidity available through UBS and 4M, but we haven't had to dip into any additional investments. But we are holding off now, staying as liquid as we can, because we do have some bigger construction payments coming up. But we'll look as we finish up the large deed project, we'll look at reinvesting and getting our ladder back to its normal 7-year stagger moving forward. But liquid for now. We've had some great turnaround on payments from the county and the state, so really things are moving smoothly on that front. So with that, I can answer any questions or no action on this item. So. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Yep, thank you.
Consent agenda, Mr. LaRude.
Mayor Bertram, City Council members, items for approval on tonight's consent agenda include the hiring and termination reports for Pebble Creek and the Becker Community Center. Partial pay request number 4 to Dunnick Brothers for the 2021 Bituminous Street project improvements in the amount of $49,115.92. Partial pay request number 2 to OMG Midwest for the 2023 Bituminous Street improvements in the amount of $770,095.15. And partial pay request number 2 to R.L. Larson Excavating for the 2023 Business Park Pump Station improvements in the amount of $654,693.83. And I will answer any questions you have.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Payment of the bills.
I motion we pay the bills.
Second.
Motion from Becky, second from Robin. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Anniversary announcements for the month of August. We have 2 of them. Troy Zwilling, who is our wastewater treatment facility lead operator. He is celebrating his 2nd year with us. And then Josh Kua in golf is our recreational and leisure assistant director, and he's celebrating 5 years with us. Yeah. So congratulations to those individuals. Does council have anything else for the betterment of Becker? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Robin, second from Becky. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We are